Hello everyone, welcome back to Otoshi Monologues, my excuse to talk, rant, and embarrass myself in front of all of y'all. Today I'm hitting the streets of Seoul in search of the best street food that my little tourist self can find at Gwangjang and Dongdaemun markets. And then I head on over to visit the JYP Entertainment building on my way to the Olympic Park. So, let's get started. Since my Airbnb is pretty close, my day starts with a lovely walk on the streets to Gwangjang Market. It looks like a typical Asian alley market. You have these various vendors set up with half their merchandise in the center aisle. But then you also have a good number of food booths to check out. So at first I just wandered around, going back and forth the little alleyways, until I finally decided to start eating with a form of bindaetteok, aka a mung bean pancake. I think the one I got was the extra meat one based on the price I was charged. It was only 4,000 won, and it came with two. Ugh, they were so delicious. It was from this stand that I think was featured in a Netflix documentary, or at least that's what it said on their sign. It had a nice crunchy crust around the edges, but it was super juicy on the inside. Very nice, oily, savory, umami. Could attempt to argue that it's healthy because there's mung beans in it? 9 out of 10. Bring on the next food, with hotteok part 2. Which is a sweet yeasted filled fried donut. This place had a substantial line. I think I waited around 15 minutes, but I was just munching on my bindaetteok. Plus you get to watch how they make the hotteok too. They have this special weight thing to keep the dough submerged in the oil, which also keeps the finished product more dense than your typical glazed donut. And they don't cook it until you order, so it's as piping hot as possible. This one was way better than that one from the first day. It was just crispier and less oily, the filling was more gushy, and there was more of the seed nut mixture in there too. 10 out of 10, 1,000 won hotteok, no brainer. Next please! And finally, I have my mixed tteokbokki sundae combo at 5,000 won, which is the cheapest I could find it for, while still letting me get both. Tteokbokki is the rice cake, and sundae is this blood sausage where the filling is pork blood and clear glass noodles. If you've never had it, I recommend. Sure, it's pork blood, but it's got such a nice meaty flavor to it. It's just like eating glass noodles, but those glass noodles have been cut into like rice-sized shaped pieces. And then you got the intestine sausage casing on the outside, which gives it the same satisfying hot dog or bratwurst snap. I agree that visually, not so enticing, but I'm a big fan. This one in particular flavor-wise was really good. Plus, it was drenched in the tteokbokki sauce, adding a sweet and spicy to that extreme umami. But texturally, it was pretty mushy. As in, the slices didn't stay together. You're supposed to be able to just eat this with a toothpick. But the shop owner ended up giving me a spoon because I was struggling so hard. The tteokbokki was extremely pillowy. It reminded me more of the texture of a gnocchi rather than mochi, which was a nice change of pace. But overall, the sauce was a tad too spicy for me, so the whole time I was trying to ration this little cup of corn tea to try to make it through. Tteokbokki sundae combo, 8 out of 10. With my belly stuffed with all this street food, I continued to wander the streets of Seoul, passing various street markets, alleyways, and malls. Ooh, look at all those YKK zippers. My dad would be so proud. And then I arrived at the Donggil shopping mall, which was interesting. It's not like the American definition of a shopping mall. It's individual vendors that each specialize in one part of a good. It's like a manufacturer's warehouse. Like one place sells buttons, one place sells cloth, etc. Some places sold finished jewelry, but other than that, and maybe like clothing patches, I didn't see much completed merchandise. Even this Dongdaemun shopping complex was like that. I did find this pixelated Piplup keychain though. It's like Legos, but the pieces slide to interlock. Even though the shopping complexes aren't what I thought they were gonna be, they are right next to the Chonghaechon River, which is a surprisingly clean looking river from being in the middle of a metropolitan city. LA. I got to cross the river on these stones. Plus I got to touch the Korean water. Wow, I've been in international waters. How exciting. And with my river break over, I headed on the bus to make it over this larger river that separated me from the JYP Entertainment building. Twice has walked these streets, guys. Everyone remain calm. It's just a normal day. I had no other reason for coming here other than that. I didn't see anything else. They have a cafe on one side of the building that you can go in, but coffee isn't really my thing. I admit that it sounds crazy that I made this hour-and-a-half journey just to say that I visited this building, but luckily for me, the JYP building is right across from the Olympic Park, which was used for the 1988 Olympics, so that's my next stop. Oh ho ho ho! Oh ho ho ho! Did somebody say Olympic Park? Did you know that the Olympic Park was created to commemorate the 1986 Asian Games and the 1988 Seoul Olympics? It's approximately 1.45 million square meters and is currently used for performances and daily sports activities. The green area is 540,000 square meters and it supports over 400 species of wild animals with 200 famously sculptured pieces scattered throughout the park. Like he said, a lot of nature and sculptures. It was like being back at the Hakone Open Air Museum, except this place was free! Germany gave this cool knife structure. Wow, Japan. So creative. Oxygen 2.0, and it's literally tanks of oxygen. And then, US represent! By far the most interesting looking sculpture to me, but also with the most ambiguous name, Impersonation Station. In addition to these sculptures, this place has some really good views of the city. They even label it Photo Spot, just to make sure everyone knows. But the most surprising views for me were the various fruit trees in the park. There were trees with a mystery citron growing in it, and I totally would have started throwing rocks at them until one dropped down. But I don't know what the laws are like in Korea, so I refrained. And then, look at that persimmon tree! All those orange, sugary bombs just sitting up there, unobtainable by the humans. I guess if it provides food for the animals, it's okay, but ugh! It hurts my heart to see all those unharvested persimmons.
We stopped this program to bring you Korean creatures. First, we have this pair of mallard ducks gently floating along in the Olympic Park Creek. They even take turns leading. How progressive. These ducks truly promote equality in 2020. Next, we have the smaller cousin of the Eurasian magpie, the Oriental magpie. Wow, there are so many of them. It is truly a parliament of magpies. Oh, in case you didn't know, a group of magpies is called a parliament. Wow, look at that lovely back pattern as they fly away. Oh no, this fellow is all alone. Did it get impeached by its parliament? Aw. He's so sad, he flew in the opposite direction. Finally, we have this mysterious white rabbit, which these nice humans seem to be feeding. Its white fur really makes it pop out on top of the brown grasses. I've never seen one that looked like that shape. It truly looks like a white rabbit candy. Maybe that's why they call it White Rabbit. This has been Korean Creatures.
After I was done at the park, I headed back on into Seoul to eat dinner at Korea Samgyetang, a Michelin recommended restaurant that my sisters and my mom went to when they visited Korea, and they said I should check it out. Samgyetang is a ginseng chicken soup where they serve you this whole young chicken, stuffed with garlic and rice and jujubes and ginseng, all served in one of those hot stone pots. It's supposed to be good for body health. All the tables are tables for 4 or more, but they weren't crowded at all, so getting my table for 1 was no problem. They give you some sides, plus a little shot of alcohol to sip on throughout your Samgyetang experience. They didn't even ask me for my age, although I guess if you're traveling alone and you don't speak Korean, they assume that you're old enough to drink. Onto the Samgyetang, which is a very unique eating experience because the dish continually evolves as you dig in. As you expose more and more of the rice stuffed within the chicken, your soup becomes more and more like a porridge, and more flavors keep getting released from the rice into the soup. At first, you're tasting a pretty standard chicken broth with the signature taste of ginseng, which I think is more of an acquired taste. If anything, I think it gives it a slight bitterness, but you really have to try it for yourself to understand all the little flavor nuances. and then you break into your whole chicken, which has this soft, delicate meat, and then you discard your bones into the supplied bone bag. And then you hit this extremely glutinous rice mixture that's packed with garlic flavor, and then you keep digging to find a jujube that's this really mushy, pasty consistency, providing a little bit of sweetness, but be careful of the seed. And then you find the stalk of ginseng, which you can choose to eat or not. I tried some, but it was too bitter for me, so I stopped. Overall, a very clean tasting meal. You can feel the energy entering your body, but flavor profile wise, I think it could be pretty divisive. Many people probably really like it, while others could take it or leave it. I personally could take it or leave it, don't really care for ginseng flavoring, but the large amounts of garlic in there helps make it enjoyable. And I like jujubes, which is basically just like a date, but I think that's also a hit or miss ingredient. Portion size is extremely large for the price, and if you go for lunch, it's even cheaper. For dinner, it was 16,000 won. Honestly, not so bad. And with each chicken, you get a wishbone. But if you're here alone, it doesn't really mean much. Unless that means that no matter which way it goes, I get a wish. Positivity. Cheating the system. But with that, I headed on back over to the Cocoa residence, tried the strawberry version of the banana milk, and went to sleep regaining my energy for my last full day in Seoul. Thanks for coming with me today as I ate various street foods, visited the Olympic Park, and ate at Korea Samgyetang. Hope y'all have a fantastic day and night, and I'll talk to y'all next time with some deer and dancing. 안녕히 계세요. Until I finally decided, oh my god. Until I finally decided, oh my god. And sundae is this and clear glass noodles. Oy oy.